Hi, and welcome back to my channel. I'm Charlie Starr, and today we're going to be talking about the Aquarius full moon happening on August 11th. Let's get into the astrology. So real quick about the moon. The full moon is active 3 days before and 3 days after August 11th, which is when the full moon will be exact. This Aquarius full moon is in conjunction with Saturn, squaring Uranus and Taurus. Furthermore, Uranus is in a conjunction with North Node. Saturn as a planet shows us where in our lives we have been stagnant and caught up in repeating patterns. When other planets interact with Saturn, what happens is the patterns that we have been caught up in and repeating in our lives are challenged. This is especially true of a square. The nature of a square is a tension point that forces us to make a different decision than the decisions that we've been making in the past. The theme of this full moon is integrity. The truth is going to be revealed in such a way that makes us realize that what we thought the reality of the situation was is not actually in fact the truth at all. In general, this full moon has to do with our interactions towards each other and towards our peers, our friends, our group associations, and the things that we are aspiring to be or to represent and embody within the group dynamic. Because Aquarius has to do with groups and Saturn has to do with responsibility, take a look at what we have currently thought our responsibility to be to the people around us. What does this mean specifically for you? Let's jump right into it. As always, please watch your rising sign. Aries rising. Okay, what's going on for you, Aries rising? This full moon is happening in your 11th house. The people that you associate with, it's very important for you that these people are in alignment with the goals that you have for yourself. And at this time, your values are actually shifting because Uranus is transiting your second house. So right now you are in and have been in a period of reevaluating what actually is worthwhile to you and also your own relationship to yourself. So as these things are shifting, what's going to happen with this full moon is that there's going to be some illumination on the truth and the reality that is the truth and reality for the group that you're associating yourself with. And it may or may not align with your own. I really want you to pay attention to the things that your friends are saying and the underlying implication of what their values are. This may make some things very clear to you, and there's a healing element, there's a healing quality that's occurring, and it possibly is that you need to heal your own inner child, and you're realizing that the values of your friends are no longer the values that resonate with you. The alternate could also be true, that there could be a lot of reconciliation going on with friends in the past that you realize that their messages for you were actually in love, and it's now time for you to amend those relationships. Taurus rising. This is kind of a big full moon for you guys. The full moon is happening in your 10th house. The 10th house is your career or your public persona to the world. And the Uranus conjunction is occurring from your first house of your own self and perceptions. So what is going on here? There's some truth that's being illuminated about authority figures at work and the underlying structures that the place that you have made your career home are built upon. This may or may not be in alignment with your values. In fact, you may be the one exposing the truth about some of the things that's happening at work. And if that is the case, it's definitely going to be exposing people in positions of authority and how they may be exploiting the system. So this could be a career altering full moon for you based on what you do with it. Because the square is happening from your first house, this is really all on you. The action's going to be coming from yourself. This is not something that's going to happen to you. This is going to be something that you decide of your own volition needs to happen. And if you do make that decision, this is going to impact the way that other people see you quite heavily. So really have a think about what your values are. This full moon is definitely exposing the truth to you and putting the ball in your court. Gemini rising. This full moon in Aquarius is happening in your 9th house of learning. The effects of this full moon are extremely internal. Why do I say this? Because there is a T-square from Uranus and the North Node happening from your 12th house. The 12th house, it talks about where we go to be alone. So this is the place where you step aside from the outside world and do your mental processing. For some time now, Gemini rising, you have been avoiding spending time alone. It used to be that spending time alone was the only place like that you could really feel your happiest, truest self. But lately, with Uranus transiting your 12th house, things are really changing. And it may be kind of scary the way that you feel that you are changing on the inside. And there's been a lot of recently distraction by surrounding yourself with your friends, with colleagues from work, with your siblings, and just surrounding yourself with fun and having a good time and laughing and just distracting yourself from what's going on inside here. I do have to tell you that this full moon is going to be like thoroughly exposing this issue, okay? So it's like something is happening from the inside that is forcing you to take a look at it. It's forcing you to make a different decision than the decisions that you have made in the past in regards to what it is that you're learning, how it is that you're learning, what your responsibility is to other people, and what your responsibility is to yourself. So I know it can be scary, Gemini, but this is the time to pay attention. This is the time to step aside and take that internal look, because you're not going to get another chance like exactly like this for a long time. Okay, like 30 years. So take advantage. Okay, Cancer rising. What I do have to say for you about this full moon is that this has to do with some good friends or a good friend that you have. And it feels like this person is somebody that you really admire. And the reason why you admire them is because there's something that they're doing that is so attractive to you, and you are inspired to do it yourself, but you've been holding back because you feel like it's their thing and you don't want to like copy them. So it's kind of like you're holding yourself back from making the same choices as your friend because you don't want to be like in competition with them. Your friend may pull you aside and reveal to you like, look, this is how I got to where I am, this is my past, and it really will just like humanize that person to you. Like, oh, they're not like this great big whatever, and they're not going to be like threatened by me doing the same thing. In fact, they may be completely excited to share their passion with you. And so this is a really like positive full moon for you guys, because I feel like there's this energy that is telling you that this thing that you haven't allowed yourself to do or pursue is actually like something that is for you, and the forces that you thought might be against you are actually there to support you and cheer you on. Leo rising. This full moon is happening in your 7th house of relationships to other people. It's in conjunction with Saturn, and it's really talking about your responsibility towards others. Recently in your life, there may have been somebody who revealed to you how your actions have impacted them. And it can be really surprising, unexpected. You didn't know you were having this kind of influence and this kind of impact on other people. I have to warn you, Leo rising, you guys have so much more power than you know. It's so easy for you guys to just underestimate yourself and the influence that you have over others. And I feel like what's happening for you at this full moon is that you're really like recognizing this responsibility you have towards other people in like a positive way. It's not like a heavy way. It's like recognizing the power and the influence that you have and taking ownership over that, because you've seen how your actions have impacted others when you didn't really know that your influence was going so far. And really just owning that and taking on, like being empowered to take on a new role of responsibility in the lives of others that you, up until this point, were pretty detached from. Virgo rising. Okay, what is happening here? This full moon is in conjunction with Saturn in your 6th house of work and service to others. The sun is in your 12th house in Leo. And what is really occurring is that you've been spending time doing like kind of like some creative work behind the scenes, or expressing yourself, or doing some soul searching on your own outside of the public eye. And you're really shown an opportunity or a possibility to take those things that you love and turn them into something that you can show the outside world and be proud of, like possibly something that you could monetize or something that you could teach. Either way, it's the passion that you feel like is growing, and you realize that taking on this hobby or this interest and growing it to be something bigger than what it is now is going to require you to learn something completely new. It's completely out of your skill set from what you have done before. Possibly you're having to learn in a different style or a different manner than you've learned in the past with Uranus in your 9th house of higher education. So that can be a little scary. It's something to think about, Virgo rising, because with Saturn transiting your 6th house in Aquarius, I get the feeling that you have had a huge responsibility to other people with the things that you've done for work, and that has really like limited you. It's kind of kept you restricted in the things that you have spent your time on because you have this obligation to other people. This time is coming to a close. Saturn is only going to be in Aquarius until March 7th of next year. And so I do just want to encourage you that this period of your life is coming to a close, and you will have this opportunity to grow the things that you love into something bigger. And don't be afraid of new opportunities, because this is really the direction that you are going in. No matter what you decide to do, whether this hobby is the thing that you're going to turn into your next career, or whether it's going to be something else, whatever it is, the North Node and Uranus are in conjunction in your 9th house, and Uranus will be in your 9th house for quite some time, and so will the North Node. And really what this means is that one way or another, no matter how you slice it, you're going to have to learn something new to get to the next step of your life. You're going to have to break out of your comfort zone and like move forward in a scary and an unfamiliar way. So get that out of the way. That's off the table. It's not an option for you not to do that. So just be thinking about how you want to do that, what you want the end result of that crazy, scary learning time to be for you. Libra rising. Okay, at this time, what I'm really getting for you is I got this image of a friend singing to you, and then it's kind of like this sad melody, and then you're actually singing back and you're harmonizing with them, and it's incredibly beautiful. Your friends, or maybe a significant other, is revealing to you their pain and their experiences from their past, and it is allowing you to see them in a new way that you hadn't seen them before, in a deeper way. Your understanding of this other person or other people is deepening, and with that, so your love is growing for them. This also is bringing up issues with your own past as they're talking about theirs. You're finding it very relatable in some ways, and kind of thinking like, okay, you know what, maybe I do have some processing to do about my own childhood and myself, the things that I have been through. And it may not be something that you really feel ready to thoroughly unpack. This Aquarius moon, Aquarius is a very detached full moon, and these things can be too painful to touch at this time. So I just want to encourage you that you don't have to unpack those things right now. Be gentle with yourself. And I do also get the sense that even though you may not have the energy to like go back and like process all of that right at this time. I do feel like your grip on it is loosening. It's kind of like you're able to really like let go of the past in a sort of healing way without like re-traumatizing yourself by reliving all of it. And as you're sort of letting go, just loosening your grip on your past trauma, it's like your past trauma is having less of a grip on you. Scorpio rising. For you guys, I was getting this like very, very strong, visceral, like powerful feeling of change. And I mean, this is how it must feel to be a Scorpio rising all the time. You guys are so powerful and intense and emotional and fiery and all those good, wonderful qualities. But at this full moon, it's kind of like I'm getting the sensation that like somebody, possibly a significant other, but somebody important in your life is kind of like pushing you to try and like deal with some stuff that like you're really not ready to deal with. And I just want to encourage you at this time that it's okay for you to like not deal with those things. It's okay for you to set the boundaries that you have set. Okay? Because what other people think that your healing process needs to look like is none of their business. Sagittarius rising. Okay, Sagittarius. So what has been going on for you? It's like lately you've been doing some soul searching on your identity and how early on you were given an identity that shaped you, and you've just sort of accepted those truths for yourself. And now you're getting to a point where those truths aren't really like working for you anymore. And you're kind of questioning like, was this me? Like, is this actually me? Or was this just something I accepted about myself and have continued to accept about myself because this was something that was somebody else's truth about me when I was younger? And just really like this full moon illuminating the opportunity that you have to end that pattern of limiting beliefs about yourself. Because as a Sagittarius rising, there is so much that you want to experience in life, okay? And if you want to get there, if you want to have those experiences, if you want to open yourself up, if you want to know the truth, if you want to expand your horizons and really embrace your calling in this life, you're going to have to dissolve the ego to a point of fluidity where you are able to go anywhere and see from so many more perspectives than you've been seeing the world through. And the only way that you can do that is by letting go of this limited idea of who you are. So I really encourage you guys to take a look at what are the truths that you have believed about yourself, and are those truths really yours, or were they the truths that somebody else gave you? And regardless, at this time, you're given an opportunity to just like choose that's not your truth anymore and be like, you know what, that's not true. That's not true about me. I'm so much more than that. Because Sagittarius rising, you are so much more than that. Capricorn rising. Okay, what does this full moon in Aquarius mean for you guys? So you guys have taken on so much ownership and responsibility for other people in your lives. And it's feeling really heavy right now. You're being put in this situation that is making you break, because it feels like, again, you're having to choose. Do I do the thing that's like selfless and that like serves the, the needs of the people around me? Or do I finally, for once, do the thing for myself? Because it's like you've been giving and giving and giving and giving to other people, and it's like you haven't really given to yourself in so long, and it just feels like you have to make a choice, and that you've been making this choice, and that so many times in your life you felt like you've had to choose yourself or others, serving yourself or serving others, and 9 times out of 10, you've been serving others, and it just feels like you're not able to make that choice again, but you're also not able to make the other choice. So I really want to encourage you, Capricorn rising, because what this Uranus square to this full moon in conjunction with Saturn is revealing to you is that the pattern that you have been in of choosing between yourself and others is a false dichotomy. And this is the pattern that really needs to break. Not you. The thought process that says it has to be me or them, because you are interconnected with these people, and what is best for you is going to be what's best for them. You can find a third option. So I pulled a tarot card for you, and the tarot card was showing me what initially looked like two doors, but then when you look at it like a little bit more closely, you can see that there's a third door. And that's really what this full moon is about for you. It's saying like, hey, there's a third option. There's actually a different way of approaching this issue that keeps recurring in your life that's not an either or. You don't have to sacrifice yourself. Aquarius rising. Well, you guys are the stars of this full moon because it's Aquarius full moon, okay? And I got a super great reading for you with this full moon. There's Saturn here in your first house, and what is really like the message that I was receiving for you guys is that this is your time to loosen your restrictions on yourself, okay? So Saturn is a ruler of Aquarius, and to have that be the sign that rules your mind and your body at all times can be very restricting and limiting. It's like you are placing your body at all times under a certain level of control and restriction. And at this time, it's like Saturn is being like forced through this T-square with Uranus out of this energy. And it's like your body is like, liberation. Okay, so whether it is a diet that you've been too restrictive, or whatever your physical exercise routine is, or I do strongly get the sensation that this has to do with sexual liberation and liberating yourself from being too controlled and just allowing yourself to unleash, to feel pleasure, and to enjoy the liberating sensations that your own body has to offer. So enjoy it. Let go, you guys. Let go, because you are about to feel unbelievably incredible. Okay, Pisces rising. You guys have been on this journey towards a new skill and a new passion. And it's not just that there's like a new thing that you're learning here, but it's also that you're learning a different way of learning. Okay, so it's like you used to be under such tight control of yourself when you were planning everything out. It's going to be this, and then it's going to be that, and then it's going to be this. You have very concrete steps to get to your goals. And you're finding that you have found in the past that this is no longer serving you. You need to become more flexible. And it's this image of learning to go with the flow and surrender to the current, right? And so then you've been trying to do that, like go with the flow, surrender to the current. But then you found that you've been swept up in the current, and now you feel completely disoriented. Like, I don't know where I'm going. I don't know what, I don't know what direction that I'm turning up in, and I just feel like completely taken over by this flow. And I'm not steering it anymore, and I don't know how to gain control of this without going back to my like overly controlled pattern of behavior. So don't you worry. This will all be revealed to you. At this full moon, you're going to have a revelation. Something is going to occur to you. Flash of genius. Oh, of course. This is falling into place. You go with the flow, but you still are steering your own boat. Okay? So you're in the boat, you're not drowning in the water. It's like if you tried to go upstream, walk upstream, while this current is flowing down. It's like that's what you're trying to do before, and then you turn around, you're like, oh, I gotta go with the flow. So now you're just like drowning in the current. Get in the boat, steer your boat. Go with the current, but be in control of what direction that it's heading. Look where it is that you're going, and the rest of you will follow. Okay, my friends, and that just about sums it up. If you've been enjoying my content, please don't forget to hit like and subscribe.